Hi guys, welcome to the 10th episode of the Book Nook. I'm your host Olivia, and for today's episode, I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite first and last lines in books. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode for today, but stay tuned for next week for a very fun and exciting episode. The first book is Fahrenheit 451, and the first line in this book is, "It was a pleasure to burn." So this first line is very interesting. It immediately hooks the reader in. It's a great way to start a book, very engaging, very interesting, and I think that this was a great way to start the book off, immediately just like hooking the reader in and just like getting them set up for the rest of the plot. So, yeah, this was very well written, very creative, very good, obviously. So yeah, I think that this first line was pretty interesting. It really connects to the rest of the plot in Fahrenheit 451 with the firefighters and Guy Montag and how they burned books, so it connects very well to the rest of the plot. Okay, so now the second book is a pretty popular one. It's Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. So the first line in this book is, "My son Johnny is dead." So when I first read this book, I was very confused because I hadn't read We Were Liars first, which is the original book, because Family of Liars is the prequel to We Were Liars. So I was very confused initially because the first scene in the book is just the main character, and I forgot her name. What was her name? But yeah, wait, Caroline? No. It was. I forgot her name. I actually don't remember her name because it's been a while since I read this book. It's been like a year since I read this book. But yeah, so it's the protagonist talking to her son Johnny, like her dead son Johnny in the kitchen, and they're like talking to each other. He's like a ghost or something, and I was just like, what is happening? Like, why is he talking to his mom like if he's dead? I was just like really confused at first because I had no idea what was going on. But as I read more, it kind of made sense. The plot made a little bit more sense, but this book wasn't really my favorite book. Like it's not one of my favorites. It's a little weird. Like the plot is very interesting since the protagonist is schizophrenic and like she's like hallucinating and she thinks that she can see like ghosts. Like she thinks that she can see the ghost of Rosemary, her younger sister, and her son Johnny, who are both dead. But yeah, the Sinclair family is very interesting. But yeah, I like this first line though. I think it was also a good hook, just like Fahrenheit 451. I think that this first line also does a very good job of hooking the reader in, just like in Fahrenheit 451. This first line, I think it was a good start to the book. It really um sets the story up. Um just it does a good job of starting the book with the exposition. Okay, so now this book is Shatter Me by Teresa Malfi, and the first line of this book is, "I have been locked up for 264 days." So this first line immediately is very intriguing. It's very interesting because like it immediately makes the reader wonder like why is she locked up? Like what's happening? What is going on? So this line also is great for setting up the story and it's really good at making the reader interested. So, yeah, I think that this book was, in terms of writing, it was very good. I obviously, um, I have talked about Shadow Me on the Book Nook a lot, actually. So if you guys have watched my previous episodes, then you already know how I feel about this book. Very mixed feelings. Yeah, I really like the first line though. Even if I didn't love like everything about the book, I didn't love every single part of the plot, but I do like the writing style and I like how the plot is very dystopian. I like the first line of this book, obviously. I think it's very well written, very creative. And I like how Teresa Malfi starts the book with this line. I like how it just grabs the reader's attention, and it's a very well written line. And I love how Terea Mafi wrote the book in the style of a diary, like in the form of Juliet's diary, how she wrote it from the protagonist's point of view, her first person point of view, and the protagonist is like writing in her notebook. I love that choice that she made. It's very creative. I love that style. I love how on the first page and just like the first few chapters of this book, there are a lot of like slash marks, there are a lot of like scribbles where Juliet, the protagonist, she was writing in her notebook when she was locked up in this prison. So she was just writing in it and then like she crosses out words, and I like how she does it. It's a very unique writing style. So that's why I liked this first line, being locked up for 264 days. Like, it's very interesting. Yeah, and it really shows Juliet's like distinct voice as a character. It shows like who she is. You can really tell a lot about the protagonist through her writing in her journal. So yeah. Okay, so now the next book is The Great Gatsby, and this one is gonna be the last line because I like the last line of The Great Gatsby way more than the first line. So the last line is, "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." So this book is amazing, obviously, but I'm not reviewing this book. Like, I'm talking about the last line. So for this line, I really like how it talks about time, the idea of time, how they're born back into the past, like they're always going to be kind of going back to the past. So I like that idea of time in The Great Gatsby because time is mentioned actually a lot throughout this book. So I like how the last line of this book kind of focuses on the time, because Gatsby, like throughout this book, he has been very fixated on the past. He has been so obsessed with like his old relationship with Daisy since he's so in love with her. Like, he's been so focused on the past and how he and Daisy were in love like 10 years ago. Like, he's always been very focused on the past. He's been thinking about the past for a long time. He's always saying like he wishes he could go back in time. So because of how obsessed Gatsby is with his past, I think the last line of the book is so fitting because it really matches how Gatsby, just his longing to go back to the past. So I think that this line really just matches up well with the plot and, with the main theme. Yeah, so I really think this last line is very creative. This line is literally the perfect way to end this book. Okay, so now this last line is from A Wrinkle in Time. It's a classic. So the last line of this book is, "But they never learned what it was that Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Which had to do, for there was a gust of wind and they were gone." So this last line is also really good as well because it just perfectly ties up the whole book. It just is a good like ribbon to tie everything up. For the conclusion of the book, everything is wrapped up. The plot is, done. This last line serves as a good resolution to the book. I think it just brings everything together really nicely, wraps everything up, and yeah, it's a really good end to the book. I think this was a really great last line. Okay, so that is the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this episode, then make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Also follow the official Book Nook Instagram. Also, definitely subscribe to the Book Nook newsletter. It's a very new thing that I've been doing. So there are going to be new articles every month. So yeah, subscribe on Substack and get it in your email. On this newsletter, you will see everything that goes on behind the scenes of recording episodes for the Book Nook, and you will see some very special and exciting announcements. But yeah, so make sure to go to Substack and do that. The link is in my bio, and I'll also link it down below. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and stay tuned for the next episode next week. New episodes every Saturday at 12 p.m. on Spotify and YouTube, and the next episode is actually going to be a really fun one, guys. Like, you will not want to miss it. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. I'm your host, Olivia Im, signing off.